I'm Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today is day 24 of Moda Fabrics Stitch Pink. Stitch Pink is a quilt along that Moda Fabrics is sponsoring in an attempt to bring about breast cancer awareness. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be a part of it. I'm actually making two quilts. I'm making one in the fabrics that Moda has designated, and the second one that I'm doing in blacks and grays. In black is the ribbon color for melanoma, and I have a family member who has melanoma, so that's what's going on with this quilt. It actually is going to be John's. So if you hear me refer to it as John's quilt, I am referring to the black version of Stitch Pink. I, on this block, am going to follow Moda's directions. So I'm going to go ahead and make my blocks in the way that they've indicated. I have cut triangles, you can see. I'll be putting my triangles together. We are making some variations of a snowball block, which I think are going to be really cool. And I'll show you those blocks when I get to them. In the meantime, let's take care of some business items first. If you like these videos that I've been doing, please do give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. If you aren't part of our Facebook group, we would love to have you come on over and join us. It's called Margaret Lewin Quilting. Thank you so much for being a part of this quilt along with me. So now let's get on to our block. This is the block that I'm going to be doing, and what I need to do first is start by making these triangles into half square triangles and then squaring them up. I have found throughout making this block that stopping and squaring it up is probably the most important thing that we can do along the way. So I'm going to go ahead and make my first block. I'll come on back here, square it up, and then show you our next step, which is actually what I'm considering to be a variation on the snowball block, and I'm excited for you to see it. So I'll be right back. I've made my larger triangles, and this is the snowball effect. I'll show you on the pink one. So what I'm going to do, let's see, I'll square this one up first and then I'll show you on them. So the first thing I'm going to do, and you can see I have pressed this. I did press my seams open, and you're going to see when I trim this why I like to make my half square triangles two at a time. What tends to happen when I do make them two at a time is I kind of stabilize that bias a little bit so that my block and my fabric don't move quite so much. So I'm going to trim this up. A little spot there. Take it around and trim it again to the 4 1/4. And as always, I'm using the diagonal line on my ruler and then the outside, watching the measurements on the outside. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the squares they had us do, and I'm going to draw a diagonal line, again using the 45-degree to make sure that I'm nice and straight, and I'm going to draw a line. Then I'm going to pin it to the white side of the triangle, or the white triangle, and then when I stitch it, I'm going to stitch right here at the line. Then I'm going to fold this over, and what this is 1/4 of what's called a snowball block. If this was a true snowball block, what you would do is have one piece of fabric, and each of the 4 corners would have that effect. So I'm going to continue to trim and continue to mark my small squares for my snowball to the white block, and then I will go over to the sewing machine. I will sew these and I will get them pressed and then move on to the next step, which I'm not 100% certain what that one is yet. So I'll tell you when I get there. All right, these are the 4 blocks, well 8 blocks, that I just finished up. And this is the snowball part of the blocks. Well, now we need to make a true snowball block. So to do that is, all you have to do is you take what they have as the center block and you draw a diagonal line on the smaller blocks that they had us do. So draw the diagonal line, and what you're going to do is stitch there. Then we will be folding these over and pressing them, and there'll be one on each corner. Really has a very nice effect on a block. So I'm going to go get those stitched, then I'll bring them over and we will square those up to snowball blocks. So I did manage to do that. Again, I pressed my seams open, which really seems to be what I'm doing on almost every single block this time, is getting them all pressed open. So our next thing to do is we need to do these units, and these are right here. What we're going to need to be careful about on these is the placement, because if you see, this triangle is a different way of stitching than that triangle. So I'm going to go get mine all put together, carefully following the directions for how I do need to lay those triangles to stitch them correctly. So I'm going to go do that. Here is my block all ready to put together. I really like this block. In fact, I like it so much that I think I'm going to put it into my next course. I will, after the first year, be teaching a beginner's quilting course, and I'm really excited about it. And one of the things I'm excited is to use this block. It's got a lot of nice lessons in it, such picking and making certain that you are sewing a direction in the right direction. Lots of times we get doing things routinely, and this block or this portion of the block could easily be messed up. The other thing that's a good lesson in these blocks is bias. You definitely feel and see the bias on it, so that's another good thing. I've always loved the snowball block, so that's nothing new. That's always been one of my favorites. And I like what they did with this one, just combining part of the snowball block. So I like this block. We're going to use this one again, ladies and gentlemen, for certain. So I'm going to go start putting it together. And how I'm going to start is I'm going to put these center units together first. Once I get the center units together, then I'll turn it into strips, and then I'll add the 3 strips together. Then the very last thing I'll do is add this additional border. I will be pressing and double checking the size of this piece once I get it sewn, just to make sure that I haven't lost any fabric or gained too much fabric. Alrighty, so here is block number 24 all done. It's time to move on to block 25. I wanted to let you know that on this block there were times that I pressed my seams, there were times that I pressed my seams open, other times that I pressed my seams closed or to one side. It just depended on the way the fabric really wanted to go. It wasn't as easy as always saying I pressed everything this way or that way. The only block that I increased the size of when I made it at all was this one. Otherwise, I used their directions and their sizes. I didn't make any alterations at all. So I wanted to caution you on that. You really don't want to size anything up other than your corner blocks, because you can actually square those totally up. The other ones, there are instances where you can square, but I will tell you, you are better off using their sizes than increasing anything at all. So that is the end of block number 24. I will see you tomorrow for block number 25. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.